just focus on improving your skills. And I understand the job market could be tough, but just keep trying and stay focused and stay positive. And I'm sure something will click up. Yes, we must accept that nothing is going to happen fast, but we must keep trying despite any failures. To see more such videos, please like, share, and subscribe to People Hum.
Welcome to another episode of the People Hum interview series. I'm your host, Sneha Murthy. And let's begin with a quick introduction of People Hum. People Hum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the People Hum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year, and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest, Anshul Kothari is a professional athlete and is a part of the Indian swimming team and has represented India in Commonwealth Games 2010, Asian Games 2010, 2014 and 2018. He holds an MBA in Marketing and Strategy degree from the Indian School of Business. Anshul is also a leadership coach, mentor and a motivational speaker. He is also the recipient of the Eklavya Award, which is the highest sport award of Gujarat, and the Sardar Patel Award for his outstanding contribution in the sport of swimming. Welcome, Anshul. We're thrilled to have you.
Hi, Sneha.
So the first question, Anshul, I had for you was, you've had quite an exciting journey so far. Can you tell us your story about how you made into the swimming team?
So when I was young kid, at the age of 4, I had some flat feet issues, and few doctors suggested that I should go for a surgery, which had a 50% chance of success. And some doctors said I should go for physical exercises or a sport, which will be a long-term solution. It will be a slow solution, but has a better chance of success. And my mom and dad chose put me into a sport and physical exercise. And I started with gymnastics and cricket and volleyball and swimming. But eventually I had to choose between picking up one sport. And since swimming was an individual sport and I was living in Surat, so I only had facilities for swimming. For other sports, we just didn't have team or training academies. And that meant, and I went for a swimming camp when I was at the age of 7 or 8. And my coach said that he has learned swimming now, and if he has talent and potential, and if he works hard, he can do good in the sport of swimming. And that's how my swimming journey began. And for the next around 10 years, I was an average swimmer, and I was in top 8 in India in the junior category, but I had failed to make the national junior team. So it was a little bit a risky thing that I was been there in swimming for such a long time, and I still chose to work hard in my dream of making to the Indian swimming team. And in between that, there was a lot of issues that I had faced in terms of, especially in India, people have this mentality that if you keep playing sport, you will not do anything in life, or you will not become anything in life. So, see, obviously, I was an average swimmer till then. So all my teenage life, I kept hearing taunts that, no, till when will you swim? What will you achieve by swimming? And again, my results weren't showing up. So I could not say much to anyone. But then I just chose to work hard and keep going at it. And I stuck to my goal. And at the same time, I appeared for the engineering entrance exam and I secured admission into BITS Pilani and NIT Surat. And that was a difficult choice I had to choose. And common sense said that I should go for BITS Pilani because it's a higher ranked institute. My family said the same, and I'd asked a lot of people, my seniors as well, who said, yeah, BITS Pilani is a higher rank institute and you should go for that. But I said no because I wanted to swim, and I chose to go to NIT Surat because that was my home, and I my swimming coach was based here, so that was my only chance to balance my sport and academics. And I went ahead with that, and it was a risky decision, but I think within a few months it paid off, and I was soon number 2 in the senior category. So that meant that I went straight away into the training camp for the Indian team, and from then I worked hard. I had an injury before the 2010 Commonwealth Games. I think it was around 1 year before the Commonwealth Games. I had an injury, but I stuck through the process. I recovered fast, and I made it to the Indian team straight away for the Commonwealth Games and the Asian Games both. And at the Commonwealth Games, we even made a national record, and we made the finals for the first time. So that whole time of Commonwealth Games, since it was happening in India as well and in Delhi, so that could give a lot of awareness to people as well. And suddenly everybody around me also started seeing me as a successful person. So it was, I think after 11 years of trying to get into the Indian team, I finally made it. And it was also a statement that whatever decisions I took in the long run, it did really showed some results. And it was also a good story for, I would not say story, it was a good inspiration story for kids in my city, because till then nobody from the city had gone to play at the international level in any sport. So it was, see, back then when even I was a young kid, the whole mentality in my city was that, okay, you have made the nationals, that's well and good. That's how far we can go, because we are from small cities, we don't have facilities, and that's about it. So that whole change in the mentality happened when I had my achievement. So after that, today in my city, if you go and ask anyone that, what do you want to do in the sport of swimming or any sport, every single child will say, okay, we want to play for India, no matter whichever the sport, not only swimming, but every sport. So that was my journey till the engineering life. And after that, in my engineering, in the final year as well, while everybody was sitting for placements and I was traveling for competitions and representing India and winning medals for India. And again, it was a difficult choice that should I sit for placements or should I just take up a job? And obviously everybody, my dean and my faculty members and again my family members and everybody said that take up job and it's a safe option. But I said no, I'm going to take one more risk because I want to swim. I just want to swim now with a single-minded focus, because all these years I was managing school academics and engineering studies, and I'm like, finally I want to break from studying. I just want to single-mindedly focus. And then I again made the Asian Games, became a national champion, and then I narrowly missed the Olympics by 0.15 seconds, and that was because of an injury, but in 2016. But the whole period from the graduation from engineering till 2016 was a very successful period, and I won a lot of medals for India. And after that, after 2016, I chose to go for an MBA at ISB. And at that point, when I got into ISB, I wasn't too clear if I wanted to swim ever again, because that disappointment of Olympics was still hanging in my head, and I was a bit upset about it. And I asked everybody at ISB, I mean, my seniors obviously, but so they said, schedule is too much stuff at ISB and you won't get time to even sleep while doing an MBA. So it's a 1 year course and it's a very fast course. So, and the moment I stepped into ISB, and I was suddenly missing swimming. And I figured that, okay, see, everybody's saying, sport and studies can't be managed. So I took it up as a challenge. Okay, let me try and see what happens. The worst case is I will fail at balancing both. So I took it up, and as days went by, I found my footing and was able to actually manage both. So at Monday to Friday, I was going to classes, and Saturday, Sunday, I was traveling for competitions. And it was tiring, to be honest, but in that whole year also, I won like 5 medals while doing, in the whole year, I won 5 medals for India while doing an MBA. So that itself, after that whole period, it itself gave me confidence that, okay, it's not, it was an ambitious goal, a very ambitious goal, but I could do it because I was so focused, disciplined, and I had planned through everything, that how to study, when to sleep, how to manage my training, and most importantly, how to not fall sick as well, because that would have been a disaster for both swimming and studies. So I managed to achieve that. And now it's actually, see, whenever somebody, the new students of ISB or the new admissions, or the new aspirants of ISB, when they ask me that, no, do we get time at ISB to do something else from studies? And I would say, yes, obviously. It's up to you, because everybody has the same 24 hours. Now you have to decide that what you want to do in that. So now when I have done something is significant, so I can speak about it, you can manage and balance. But till then, nobody had done it. So they also passed me the same information that no, you cannot manage. So it has and then after ISB, I've been again full-time swimming, and I've played Asian Games in 2018, and we made a national record again then. And till this COVID happened, I was preparing for the Olympics 2020, and which obviously has been delayed by a year now. That's how my swimming journey has been so far.
Wow, that is such an interesting, and as well as it has been a roller coaster ride for you throughout. And what kept you going is your belief in yourself and the risk that you've always taken. It's such an inspiring story for so many people out there.
Thank you.
So the second question I wanted to ask was, how do you link sports to decision making and strategy marketing and all? So how do you think sports can help an individual in strategic development and decision making?
So see, we are often taught in schools and universities that academics is important, and I agree to that. It gives you the mental development, and it teaches you logic and other skills. But there are a lot of other skills in the real world which education cannot teach you, and it's character building. A lot of the skills are learned from sport. So, for example, teamwork. A lot of the educational curriculum is based that you focus on your individual self, your own marks, and that's about it. But when you go out in the real world, you're working for a business. You're basically working with teams, and not only your teams but different teams as well. And what matters is that how you can work together as a team. Are you able to put aside your differences and work towards a goal? That's something sport teaches you. See, no matter whether you like your teammate or you don't like your teammate, you have to play with him and you have to make sure a team wins. Because at the end of the day, the team will win together or lose together. That's one of the basic lessons which sport teaches is teamwork. Then second is goal setting. So see, whenever you have your own business or when you have a startup or even for your life in general, sport teaches you to have a goal, basically define a goal. So if I talk in terms of business language, let's say what's the goal for this year? Let's say we want to increase our revenue or when we want to increase our sales or we are targeting this much profit. First, that goal setting happens in a sport. So in a sport, we say, okay, I want to win at this medal, at this level. So sport teaches you goal setting. Now, once the goals are set, you plan, or in business terms, I would say you form a strategy. How will I achieve my goal? And in all of this, even in terms of as a sport, also in like team sports or in business, whenever you form a strategy, you have to sit with your team and decide. We reach the action stage. It is very important in sport as well, and obviously in business as well. So when you form the strategy, it's very important to execute it. A lot of times there are failures at the execution level, and then we say, okay, the strategy is wrong or something else. But a lot of times it's also the issue that it's a people issue, and they said working with teams. The strategy could be right, but when the team members don't execute it well, you don't reach the goal. It's just fine, it happens sometimes. So at the execution level, you'll have failures and success. And as same like in sport, you don't straight away become a national champion. You first lose a lot of races and you learn from your defeats. So it's same in the business. You learn from the failures and you figure out the root issues and then try to solve them so that next time it doesn't happen. And so this is how I think sport helps in business and sport helps in decision making in business as strategies. And one of the other things is also resource planning. See, whenever you're doing sport in India, you don't normally have all the resources as available to athletes abroad. So from a very young age, when we are doing sport, we are kind of taught, okay, make the best out of what you have. Don't complain of the resources that we don't have facilities, so we won't be able to perform. And I think that resource planning is also a very important thing of important aspect in the business company. With the limited resources, are you able to achieve your goals or not? So I would say these are the few things which you can learn from sports and take it into business.
Absolutely. The way you said, like, teamwork, goal setting, and then action of the goal is like we hear these terms often, but then the execution, practical execution is actually happening in these sports, right? And when those both come together, you actually deliver a good productivity over there.
And what happens in sport is we are exposed very fast.
Yeah.
Everybody is watching us.
Yes.
So we fail in public and we win in public.
Absolutely.
So there's no way we can escape that. And like behind all of that, like behind all the execution and the action, a lot of hard work and discipline as well, which the sport teaches you.
Yeah.
When you have a big goal and see, everybody can dream. Like tomorrow, every startup can dream if you want to become this big, which is fine. And you see, 90% of the people fail because at some point the hard work and the discipline fluctuates. So the hard work and discipline actually ensures how much success you will have, be it sport, life, business, anything. And it's a continuous process. It's not like, okay, fine, I have worked hard for like 1 year and then next year I can chill off a bit, and that doesn't work in sport. At least somebody else will beat us and like we are gone.
Yes, completely, completely. So coming down to trying times like now, right? Like there are these are the difficult times that we are facing right now. So what, according to you, is the secret to turning adversity into opportunity and also stay resilient and hopeful in tough times?
So these are, as you said, very tough times, and uh, everybody talks about resilience and being mentally tough. And so, how do you achieve this? See, first of all, accept the situation that um, it's a tough situation for everyone, and everybody has their own share of difficulties. There are people who are hunting for jobs, or there are people who are still studying and they are facing the a question that what will happen in future, will we get jobs? Or there are some businesses or startups which are in the middle of stage, and they could be wondering what will happen to a business and what will happen to the funding in future and stuff like that. So basically accept that, okay, this is the situation and it will take time to solve. Then second thing is, you see what you can improve. As I said, with the existing resources, what you can improve. There are room for improvement for everything. It is the best thing we learn in sport. Every day we go into training, we are focused on improving something. There's not a single day in my life I've said, I've gone to a training session and said, okay, well, I have nothing to improve. And I'm so I think for everyone, especially the people who have access to internet, I think there's a lot of stuff you can do to improve, gain some skills, anything basically. And today we have access to everything via the internet. So, I mean, you can do exercises, you can work on your physical health, or you can take your work on your technical skills or anything else. And this will also ensure that you will stay prepared for the future. Because if you have done some improvements in the process now, it will definitely help you in the future when everything becomes normal. At some stage it will. And yes, you also stay focused on a long-term goal. And at this point of time, to have a mental boost, you should also celebrate your small wins. Like whatever little you do, and you feel it's an improvement. Let's say you learned a small technical skill and you find, okay, this is a good thing to have. Be happy about it, and that should motivate you to work hard for the future as well. And as I said, be positive and also have a lot of self-belief in whatever you're doing. Yes, if you're looking for a job, or if you're planning for the future in terms of business, or if you're planning, or if you're still studying, or if you have certain long-term other goals, have a lot of self-belief in yourself and just focusing on improve yourself. And with time, everything will become better and what will come to normal. So that's the thing I would say, how to be resilient and tough in these times.
Absolutely. Acceptance is the first step to everything, right? Like, as you said, you need to accept what it is. And also, the fact I really loved was celebrate your little wins. Like, in trying times like now, celebrating the little wins is going to keep you positive, and it is going to keep the good energy going through, right?
At the end of the day, it's a lot of people have been blinded by, okay, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, this and that. But at the core, your health is everything. Physical health as mental health both. If you don't have health, nothing else will matter now. Your goals of dreams will not get fulfilled at all if your health is not in a good shape. So that's something we cannot ignore at any cost.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that point of positivity there. So what if you had to advise the graduate class of 2020? Like, what would you like to tell them? And also, what would you tell first-time leaders who are just starting out their careers now?
So for the people who are gonna graduate soon, I would say just focus on improving the skills. And I understand that job market could be tough, but just keep trying and stay focused and stay positive. And I'm sure something will click up. Yes, we must accept that nothing is going to happen fast, but we must keep trying despite any failures. And for people who are soon starting to be in a leadership position, I would say um, many times it happens that if somebody is in a leadership position, or if somebody is new in a leadership position, they just try to change everything instantly, and that almost every time backfires to an extent. So I would say this whatever you're leading, an initiative or a team or an organization, try to see, observe the processes first, and learn the different perspectives. And when you have all the data, go and sit and analyze, and then make a planned process on what changes you want before you go and start executing everything. And as I said, leadership is a constantly evolving process. So, and like all the big changes take time to happen. So, like the leaders must also have patience in that regard, because at the end of the day, you're still working with a team of people. So it takes time.
Absolutely. That's a valuable advice that everyone would need at this point in time. So it was wonderful connecting with you. It was interesting to know your journey and how it's linked with the professional world as well. Thank you so much for that, Anshul.
Thank you.